Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Once again, I'm Ned from Ned's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. In 1999, I knew my way around the console wars. Nintendo 64 was here, and I was so into it. We had a look around, we saw everything in 3D, and it looked good. But man, the Nintendo 64, when it came out, the price was unbelievably astronomically high. I think it was about $400. Eventually, it came down to a reasonable 200, and we can all get stuff. The average price of a game was, as you can see, about $60 for quite a while. And not only that, but we had a new Game Boy out, and these little things were slick. Like, I thought I was totally out of Game Boy, but when I saw one of these at one of the local liquidation places, I had to scoop it right up. It just looked so nice. It fit into your hand. It looked so freaking good. And man, at the time, you still had to fight to get the TV sometimes, so it was nice to have your own little system you could take and tuck away and take out to your own little corners or wherever. Interesting. The controllers were only $29. I remember them being a lot more expensive than that. Haha, the RF switch. We don't have to talk about that. All of us old guys have old memories. We don't have to. Anyways, Pilot Wings. Talk about better things. When this thing was released, when Nintendo 64 was released, it was only released with Pilot Wings and Mario 64. And in Japan, there was also a Chinese checkers game. Or was it a chess game also released? Toy Story. All right, we got. Oh yeah, who? Risk on the Genesis. All right, Animaniacs. It was kind of fun the first time around. Let's keep flipping. Okay, so the Sega Saturn, in my opinion, was the superior system, although most people wouldn't like it. But it wasn't really because of the system itself, it was because of the games that you could play. You could actually have characters that bled within the Sega Saturn, whereas on Nintendo 64, your enemies bled light. There was definitely no red blood, but you could get away with a lot more of that stuff. This is a lot more edgier. The stories had more romantic flavor. Man, oh man, I was all about the drama back in the day. I thought Final Fantasy 8 and 7 were going to give me a love story. They promised me a love. There wasn't, no, just no, no. But the RPGs on the Sega Saturn were actually pretty good. After the Sega Saturn screwed up so badly with 32X and Sega CD, I didn't think I'd ever go back. But I did, and now I miss it. Anyways, yeah, here we can see the PlayStation. The original PlayStations, I stayed away from them because everyone knew there was an issue with them. There was a worm screw gear in them that went dead because it was made of plastic, and after a certain amount of time that plastic would wear down. I can't believe Sony, to this day, I can't believe Sony would use a piece of plastic for that gear. The basically it was the gear that moved the laser up and down. So when people wanted to get this thing to work, they would sometimes be able to get them to work by putting them on their side. Even on the second-hand market, the Sony PlayStation had several different prices based off the unit code that was on the bottom of it. I specifically remember that. That takes me back. I was always so ticked off that they gave you these RAM cartridges, not RAM, but memory cartridges. You had to buy those separately. We all knew one person that just kept the game on forever if they couldn't, if they didn't have one of those. Genesis, they had some games, but man, so Sega had this ability to release the systems at the start of the cycle in order to beat the last cycle. I'm pretty sure Genesis was released before the Super Nintendo in order to make the Nintendo look like nothing. Super Nintendo came out and it was just so much better. Super Nintendo didn't have the Vector Man, but they didn't need Vector Man. Everyone who played both systems, specifically at the end, once they had all the games, they knew that Nintendo was a superior system, but Genesis you could actually see some red blood on it. And you'll notice that with a lot of the things you watch, if it has red blood, it's automatically like PG-13 or something like that. Otherwise, if you're watching someone get sliced and die, if you're watching a Ninja Turtle slice up a B-lister, it's going to be a robot or some kind of a lizard or unfeeling thing. The blood will be green, and you've seen a lot of that. Street Fighter Alpha 2, I had that and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Specifically, Madden. Who really liked the Madden games? Like, legitimately. Anyways, yeah, the Game Boy Pockets. Man, I had the see-through one. I had that one. I had the green one. I had the red one at different times. I just never owned the black one. Geez, $20 a game. That's not actually so bad. Oh my goodness, they had Battle Arena to Shinden on here. I didn't realize. That's a really good Game Boy one-on-one fighter. Like, there are no good Game Boy one-on-one fighters, but if you have to have a one-on-one fighter, to me, that one was the best. The Game Gear, if you have one of these Game Gears these days, you probably can't even use it unless you have taken out a particular capacitor that's known to die or leak. And that's really interesting. Some of this old stuff, this old plastic bound stuff, it just doesn't last the test of time like old things do. But then again, I guess even in old times, it had a lot of leather, and leather doesn't last very long, does it? Even if you have it in really good places. X-Men Mojo World. I always meant to play that one. Oh, Virtual Fighter. That was ass. That was ass. Beavis and Butthead was fun for a rental, but that's about it. Oh my God, Tamagotchi. Yeah. I totally had a Tamagotchi. I loved it. I got a Tamagotchi for my friend for Christmas. My friend got me a Tamagotchi for my birthday. And I don't care who knows it. Nintendo 64 controller. What? Are they advertising this with a controller for $149 and advertising it for the regular for $100 on the front? Oh wait, this has got to be another magazine or something. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me, Net from Tech. Let's have a good one. Take care of each other, will you, stinky bums? Merry Christmas.